Hello, everyone. This is Zami Eccles-Erwin from filmfestivalcircuit.com. And today we have a special guest on for an interview. John Reddy is a Film Festival Circuit alum who has had multiple award winning shorts in our events and has recently just moved on to creating his first feature film. So, John, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So not that long ago, there was an Oregon Short Film Festival where you had two movies, Jackie and the Diary of Valerie Thompson, and those were super awesome. And you had a very distinct style and really something specific to say. And I'm super excited to see. Not that much longer, you already have a feature out. So
Mhm.
just congratulations on that. That's really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And remind me, were you working on this feature at that time? Is this something that's been in development for a while?
At the time of the festival, I had done maybe the first 6 or 7 interviews for the movie,
Okay.
and then all of the meat of it, I did a little bit afterwards. Most of it was in April and May of last year, and then just little bits scattered throughout the rest of the year.
Okay, awesome. Well, the movie, which is the Hag of McMinnville, right? What a great concept. Tell me a little bit about your inspiration for it.
So I don't know if you grew up with Hey Arnold, but my favorite episodes of that were the ones where Gerald would be telling the urban legend about like Stoop Kid or the guy that lives in the sewer or the guy,
Totally.
the pigeon man from the One Roof.
Oh yeah.
But I used to love those campfire story kind of things. And when I was in school, I'd done a play by Martin McDonough called The Pillow Man.
Okay.
And for anyone that's not familiar with it, it's a writer's being interrogated because somebody has been copycatting these murders that he writes in this book. So I wrote a play that was kind of inspired by all of that, and I never ended up putting it on. And then I came across the script again like a year and a half ago, 2 years, and I thought that it might work well as a feature-length movie. So it was good to have all that source material. So that's really where
Okay.
this one came from.
Oh,
Back then, I did
interesting.
a class project freshman year that was very similar in frustration to working with group partners that aren't reliable.
Oh
You
yeah.
usually shouldn't do a project with your best friend because you'll hate each other by the end.
Exactly. Well, I love that. So there's actually a lot of different inspirations that went into fomenting this. This is actually an idea that's maybe been kicking around in your purview for a while, and so you're finally able to recognize it on screen. What's the process of taking an idea like that's been sitting initially as a play and then turning it into a movie, which I would say in this case is a movie that's very much about movies, about cinema. It's
Mhm.
interviews and it's sort of mockumentary style, documentary style. What's that process like?
Well, you got to work within your means. And for Jackie and the Diary of Valerie Thompson, I was a one-man crew for 90% of that. I had a sound person on one day of Valerie. So I knew that I could make that work. I had an assistant director for like some of the harder days. Her name's Alexandria McKinley Prom. Um, so I thought working within my means, doing interviews is a very easy way for simple setups, get people
Totally.
in and out, shoot really quickly. Um, so working with that, I also wrote a bunch of PDFs about things like what was happening in the world in 1995 when the movie takes place, some history from McMinnville, and then I wrote the movie itself. Students writing a class project about like a video project about local history, and one of the group members decides that they want to do one about this fake campfire story called the Hag of McMinnville. Um, so I wrote like a very bare bones version of how that story goes, and I gave it to all the actors, and I let them make up what they wanted to. And I think some people, they definitely are a little more natural when they get to say their own stuff instead of
Okay.
reading lines from somebody else. So that's kind of how all this came to be and how it was made.
I love that. That's cool. So it's something where you're trying to make the scope something that's totally doable as a primarily one man crew, but you're also, I think, in peak independent cinema way, relying on the talents of others a little bit to create this full thing. People are improvising and bringing their own characterization to the story. I think that's really cool, and it reads really well. I mean, there's tons of different personality in there. It doesn't feel like one person's voice. The world that you create is quite full, and part of that is how many people you have. You actually just
Mhm.
have a supremely huge cast where from beginning to end, you're seeing so much different types of stuff and so many different characters. What's it like wrangling all those people and working with all that different talent? What's that process like?
Almost every person, about half of them had been in stuff that I'd worked on before.
Okay,
Actually, I think both Jackie and Valerie Thompson were both in the movie in smaller parts, if you can spot
love
them.
that.
But about half of them had been in stuff I'd done before. And then of those, that last half, about half of them I'd met on set before, and other ones had either sent in an audition or messaged me on like Instagram and just cold called, said, hey, I'm trying to get my foot in the door. Do you have an opportunity for me? So I'm like, okay, let's figure out how to work you in here. So world building and getting actors employed.
Totally. Well, I mean, and that's one of the big skills of independent film production. When you don't have a huge budget, you have to network, you have to make these connections, and people will stick around and be interested in it. Now, at this point, it seems like you almost have your auteur troupe of returning actors and stuff like that. I mean, that's exciting. What
Mhm.
was the shooting process like in terms of just you have so many different settings, a lot of outdoor filming. That's difficult for sound and camera work. Any kind of insights with that, or any challenges that you faced?
So it's compared to a short, the feature is like a beast. So the way that works best for my brain is I would add the story in my head and documentary, because I watched a lot of interviews where people talked about directing documentaries is you kind of start with an idea, you film a whole lot of stuff, you'll probably have several hours of usable footage,
Right.
and then you kind of whittle it down and figure out what the story is. And I kind of knew which way I wanted to steer the ship. So what I did was I wrote out all the story beats for like this. There's some scripted scenes in there, and then it's broken up by interviews. I wrote out all the scenes on like a flashcard, and I taped them all to the wall. And I had a to do and completed, and I was very motivated to get as many flashcards from one set to the other.
Okay,
So
totally.
yeah, it was just a matter of taking it like one day at a time and figuring out which props I needed and who I knew that had location. And on the plus side, filming outside is a little less invasive, trying to organize things with somebody that
Right.
owns a space. And at this budget scale, they're not like trying to hound me down for release forms, which I
For
totally
sure.
have for all the parks that I filmed at,
Of course.
obviously.
Well, I love to hear that. The actual physical process of making something so big like this. One of the big questions is, how do you go from shorts to features? And I guess it is just one step at a time. You have your post-it cards in this case, and you're just saying, "What can I
Mhm.
do today? What can I move over?" In terms of just writing something like this, is there a big gulf in your opinion from moving from shorts to features? Did it smoothly kind of flow for you, or was there a hill to get over?
I'd actually been writing features since COVID lockdown in 2020. So I have a good like 11 or 12 features that I had written. And this one was only partially, this was more like a writing a short than any of those ones because they were just individual scenes. They were all kind of like linked together along with all the improv. Um, so I would say it's just a matter of understanding the pacing better because when you're doing a short, the advice that I've heard that I think usually works well, especially for like festival programming, is to get your point across in as little time as possible. And
Right.
I've seen a lot of shorts that they just pad the time with a lot of dead air and Jackie, Valerie Thompson, I was like, just cut all the fat out and like make it as concise as possible. So
Totally. And those are
with
like what,
feature,
sub 10 minutes or 10 minutes just around? I mean, they're really, really quick, really, really snappy.
I think
Only
one of
meat and
them was
potatoes.
7 minutes and one of them was 10 minutes maybe,
Totally.
which is, even for a short 10 minutes can be some, depending on how much is in there, it can feel like it's going on a bit. Um, I might need to be refreshed on what the question
Oh yeah,
was.
well, it's kind of leading me into wanted to ask you what other insights or what did you take away from this process? This is a big undertaking. What did you learn from this in terms of the craft?
um, well, all the shorts definitely set you up for knowing how to steer the boat because, the movie is like your boat
Right.
and the weather is all the obstacles and the
Yep.
waves and all that
Sometimes
stuff.
actual
So
weather.
Yeah, well, thankfully I didn't have to deal with rain. There was one day where it was downpouring the day that we shot most of the class project part. Um, it was downpouring up until about 15 minutes before they got there, and I'm like, thank you God
Yeah,
for that one.
perfect.
Um, I need to refresh myself on it's been a long work day, so I'm just trying to get
Totally.
the cogs turning.
I feel that. Well, what's the vision for the Hag of McMinnville? Is this gonna be hitting festivals anytime soon? Video on demand? What's the goal?
I've submitted to about 10 festivals.
Okay,
That's about what I could afford right now. I got my first two no's. We'll see. I'm optimistic.
absolutely.
But even if it's not successful with that, I did what I was trying to do, so I'm glad for that. Hopefully, I'll try to see about. I feel like Shutter might be an appropriate venue for that.
Yeah,
If not, Tubi. Um, if not, YouTube. That's the world we live in.
absolutely. Well, I love that, man. I mean, you're putting it out there. You're giving it all the opportunities. Not every film is right for every platform or every festival, but just you made it. You sat there and you went from shorts and you made a feature, and now ultimately that's just huge proof of concept for what you're capable of. I
Mhm.
always tell people that, like, hey, if you made a feature, you're now like 9/10 of the way closer to proving that you can be in the industry in any professional capacity. You've actually done it. You've moved it from one side. You moved the sticky note from one side to the other, and that's huge.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's a
Metaphorically and
great
literally.
movie. Yeah, literally. And well, I'm wondering now that you have this, it's out there. It's going to be doing the rounds. Maybe going to have a public YouTube link at some point for people to enjoy. What other projects do you have cooking around? I'm sure your brain never stops at one.
Um, there's no rest for the wicked, and I'm exhausted. So that
So it
there,
goes.
there's a movie I was in called The Y2K Killers that's actually premiering
Oh,
the
cool.
as of recording. It's this coming Saturday in Seattle. After that, you can follow. I think it's Mermaid Motel Media for any updates on where that might be showing. I have four
Great.
shorts in the can that I shot at the same time as the Hag because I hate
Okay.
myself.
Yeah, you just love putting on the burden. I love it.
And the my second feature film has I've cast all the principal roles, and I'm setting up the details for shooting that around the same
Wow.
time that I shot most of the Hag stuff. Spring,
Okay.
summer.
So you just have so many irons in the fire. You never quit. Your caffeine intake must be heroic.
Well, there are times when I have to tell my fiance to remind me to, when I have an idea, sit on it for a day and then realize that I'm too tired.
Right. Yeah.
So
Let it foment and then see if it's still worth it. But still, nonetheless, a lot of ideas seem to make it there. So on top of this feature being around, we can expect to see some shorts from you coming out
yeah.
uh, before too long. And
Mhm.
what's the deal with those? Are they in the horror genre, the horror drama? What's the feel with these shorts?
Two of them are. One of them is like an extended scene from the beginning of the Hag movie,
Okay.
interspersed between there's a campfire scene, and there's just a lot of good stuff for the sake of flow. It's very short in the movie, but I have
Okay.
about half an hour of really good stories by people. So it's like a little teaser thing that'll come
Nice.
out on October 7th via secret link because the Blair Witch, they had this fake website. They
Oh
pretended that the
yeah.
actors were dead. You have to find a
Totally.
fun way to advertise your stuff instead of just
Yeah.
like, here's my poster, here's my trailer. So I made a fake
Right.
website with some lore because
Oh,
that's what
so
the kids
cool.
love these days.
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's is evidence for anything.
Totally.
And then there's another one of the other ones is a short horror movie called Russborough and Kelly. It's about these disc jockeys that they're getting phone calls about what seems to be a werewolf situation. And then I've got like three comedies actually. So
Sweet.
well, one
Okay. So
drama
you're
and two
back.
comedies. Yeah.
You're moving from all the genres. You have them all in there. That's really
Keeping me
cool, and
busy.
I love your focus on the intertextual Blair Witch thing, man. I mean, and you've got great footage to use, so make it as a little supplement. That's super sweet.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about the Hag at McMinnville?
Um, I wish I had something clever to say, but um,
It's in the movie. The cleverness is there.
yeah, You could just cut out this dead ear here. Pretend I said something hilarious.
Perfect. Yeah.
If I had anything to say about the movie, it's that you should value the time that you have with your loved ones because you don't know how much time you have. So that would be my insightful bit. I have little shout outs to some deceased relatives in the movie as like a little loving nod because I'd lost my uncle right around the time that I started shooting it. So there's a part when somebody's talking about their Uncle Joe. So, that's
Well, it's a really
my
nice
shout out.
memorial. That's a nice homage, and yeah, cinema is a powerful tool to get across some of our feelings and stuff, and kind of cement them forever for posterity. But
Mm-hmm.
John, thank you so much for talking with me. I've already seen your work. This movie's great. I'm excited for everything that comes from you, and thank you so much for talking with me, man.
Thank you for taking time. I know you're really busy. Like when went on YouTube, I saw that there's a whole podcast now too. So I know you're
That's
you're
right.
constantly doing this.
Well, hey man, I do it for the love of cinema, and you provide, so I
All right.
appreciate it. All right, thank you, man. Take care.
You too.